Hi guys, so today's session is just on the GCSE Maths Foundation questions. So I'm just going to be doing the questions that are most likely to be coming up in the exam paper. So these are the sort of questions that come up every single year. The meeting's getting recorded as well, so if you want to watch it back, you can do that as well. I've got the chat open, so any questions, put them in the chat whilst I'm doing the questions, and I can hopefully answer them. So I'll just get started. So first question is, triangles A and B are drawn on the coordinate grid. Describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle A onto triangle B. So this is a so it's testing you on what the transformation is. So we know for sure it isn't, so there's four transformation. There's translation, rotation, reflection, and enlargement. It's not an enlargement because the shape isn't made bigger or smaller. It doesn't, it looks like a reflection or it looks like a rotation to me. If it was a reflection, the shape would look exactly like what it'd be reflected as. So it looks something like this. So it's not a reflection. So it's either a translation or a rotation. And I know it's a rotation because the shape's been like turned around. So it's definitely a rotation. So I'm going to write down rotation. So with rotation, you have to give three things. You have to give, if it's clockwise or anti-clockwise, the center of is which rotated by, and also if it's rotated 90 degrees, 180 degrees, or 270 degrees. I know it's moved, shape A has moved to shape B. So always look at the question as well, triangle A onto triangle B. It's moved clockwise because it's gone from A to B, so clockwise. And because it's only moved one quadrant, so this is one quadrant, this is your second one, there's your third, and there's your fourth. It's only moved to one different quadrant, it's 90 degrees. Because if you look at the graph, each section is 90 degrees. So if it's moved two sides, it's moved 90 plus 90, which is 180. If it's moved three sides, so if it's gone from here and it's ended up here, it's moved 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be 90 times 3, 270 degrees. So it's rotation clockwise 90 degrees, and you have to find the center of rotation. How you find that is by using tracing paper. So I'm just gonna, I can't actually show it on the video, but I'm gonna show you what I'm doing. So you get your tracing paper, put it on the shape, and you draw it out. So I'm just gonna trace out shape A, and then you have to keep placing your pencil at different coordinates to see when you rotate it, when your pencil's on that coordinate, does it make that shape? So always start with the center 0, 0, because that's the most common one. And I am going to turn my shape 90 degrees clockwise, and that does give me the shape. So if I turn it at 0, 0, my pencil pointing at 0, 0, it does give me the new shape. So therefore, it's going to be the center is going to be 0, 0. So that's how you know it's the shape is being rotated. Next question here. So part B says, on the grid, reflect triangle A in the line x equals 0. Label the image C. So I need to reflect triangle A, which is this one, in the line x equals 0. So first, let me just rub these out. So I need to know where the line x equals 0 is. So x equals 0 cuts through the x-axis at 0. So it's going to cut through this one here. Even though it looks like the y-axis is actually cutting the x-axis, because the x-axis is horizontal, it's cutting through it. There's the x-axis, it's cutting through it at 0. So there's my mirror line, and I just need to reflect it. So how you do this is each corner, each vertex of the shape needs to be the same amount away from the mirror line as the opposite side as well. So if I just draw it out again, this one here is 1, 2 away, so I'm going to do it 1, 2 here. This one here is 1, 2, so I'm going to do it 1, 2 here. This corner is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. And there is your new shape, and I'm going to label that C. So that's part B done. Second part B is, on the grid, translate the triangle A by vector and label the shape D. So when you're translating it, it gives you a vector, and that vector just means the top number tells you if it's moving left or right. If it's right, if the number's positive, it's moved right. If the number's negative, it's moved left. So we know that's moved 5 units to the left. And bottom number tells you if it's moved up or down. If it's moved up, is positive, the number's positive. If it's moved down, the number's negative. So we know it's moved 5 units left and 4 down, 4 units down. So I'm label that D. So I'm reflecting all of the corners of shape A by the vector 5, 4. So I'm going to move it all 5 units to the left and 4 down. So if I just do it in a different color. So I'm going to focus on this one here, this corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 units left and 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my new point there. I'm going to focus on this one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 down. And I'm going to focus on this one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 4 units down. 1, 2, 3, 4 here. And I'm going to label that D. So can you see with translation, the shape is in the exact same position. So they're not same position, same rotation, but with rotation, the shape is turned around. So that's how you know the difference between translation and rotation. And then obviously with reflection, you can see it's like a mirror image. So if I put a mirror in between, on that mirror line, it looks exactly on the, like it's a mirrored image. So I have done them 3 questions. That's translations. So moving on to the second question. So this one is a polygon question. So shape A is a regular triangle. That's my shape A here. And shape B is a regular octagon. Octagon has 8 sides. So just remember that. Another regular polygon P is shown on the diagram. So polygon P is on this side. How many sides? So how many sides does polygon P have? So we need to know how many sides polygon P has. First of all, we need to work out the angle of P, because polygon P, because we don't know what the angles are. So let's work with what we know. I know shape A is a regular triangle. If it's a regular triangle, all the angles are 60 degrees. That's going to be 60. That's going to be 60. That's going to be 60. And so I know that one there. So essentially what I'm trying to find is this angle here on the polygon P. And I can do that by finding out, I know that's 60. I can work this angle out here of the octagon. And then therefore I know angles around a point. No, this is foundation. Foundation students need to know polygon, but again, higher students need to know all of this as well. So as I was saying, to work out this one here, I can just do 360 minus this angle, and then that will give me the angle on polygon P. So I'm going to do that first. I know in the triangle that's 60 degrees. To work out the interior angle in the octagon, to work out the interior, there's a couple of formulas. To work out the interior angle, the interior angle is always 180 take away the exterior angle. So I need to essentially work out what the exterior angle is, and the formula to find the exterior angle, if you know the number of sides, exterior angle is 360 degrees divided by n, and we know the number of sides of an octagon is 8. So I can work out the interior angle, the exterior angle, sorry, exterior of shape B is 360 divided by the number of sides, which is 8. The exterior angle of B, therefore, is 45 degrees. So that's the exterior angle. Now, to find the interior, I'm just going to do 180. Interior of B is just going to be 180 degrees minus 45. Because if you think of it, each angle, each side is on a straight line. So you've got an interior angle and an exterior angle. And on a straight line, we know the angles add up to 180 degrees. Therefore, you can just minus one of them to get the other angle from 180. So the interior of B is going to be 180 take away 45, which is 135 degrees. Therefore, this angle here is 135. Now I can find the interior angle of polygon P because I know angles around a point. This is around a point add up to 360. So interior of P is going to be 360. Take away 135, which is this angle here, and take away 60, which is the triangle. And that gives me 165 degrees. So the interior angle of P, this one here, is 165 degrees. So now we need to work out how many sides polygon P has. And there's a triangle here. There's a formula that you can use. I always recommend it to the kids because it's easy to remember. So we know exterior angle is 360 divided by n, but you can put it in a triangle to work out and rearrange it to work out a number of sides. So 360 degrees is exterior angle times by the number of sides. So if you use this triangle, you can rearrange it. So number of sides is 360 divided by the exterior angle. So to find out the number of sides of anything, you need to know the exterior angle, and you can work that out from the interior angle. We know the interior angle, then therefore we know interior angle is 180 take away exterior angle. So the exterior angle of P is going to be 180 take away 165 because we just worked out the interior angle, and that's going to be 15 degrees. So we know the exterior angle of P is now 15 degrees. Now we can use this formula. The number of sides of P equals 360 degrees divided by 15, which is the exterior angle, and that is 24 sides, sorry. 24 sides. So we know polygon P has 24 sides because 360 divided by 15 is just 24. So that was a 4-mark question. But again, all our formulas are on the formula sheet. So if you look on the formula sheet where it says polygon, all the equations are there. So there is a couple, I think there's about 5 formulas to remember how to work out exterior angle of a regular polygon. And for any polygons, how to find out the sum of interior angles and the interior angle and the exterior angle by minusing them from 180 degrees. So it's always handy to remember them. Okay, I'll just move on to the next question. So this is one about compound interest. So Greg bought a new car for £18,000. In the first year, the value of the car depreciates by 30%. In the second year and the third year, the car depreciates by 14%. Work out the value of the car after the 3 years. So in the first year, that is the first year, the value depreciates by 30%. And in the second year, second and third year, it depreciates by 14%. So the formula for compound interest is starting amount multiplied by the multiplier to the power of number of years. And multiplier is calculated if the value has been increased, you do 100 plus your percentage divided by 100. That's if it's been increased. And if your value has been decreased or depreciate, you're going to do 100 minus your percentage divided by 100. That's if it's been your value is decreased or depreciated. They mean the same thing. So in this case, the value of the car is depreciated. So we're going to do it for the first year first because in the first year it depreciates by a different amount than the second and third year. So for the first year, the multiplier is going to be 100 take away 30 because it's depreciated, divided by 100, which is 100 take away 30 is 70. 70 divided by 100 is just 0.7. So we can work out the value of the car after the first year. There's going to be, the interest is going to be a starting amount, which was 18,000, times by 0.7, which is, just give me a second, just work that out. 18,000 times 0.7 is 12,600, which makes sense because the value is depreciated, it's gone down. So this value needs to be less than the original value because it's depreciated. So in the second and third year, which is what we're going to work out now, so that's for 2 years now. So the number of years is going to be 2 years. So I forgot to mention, for the first year, which we just did, we did starting amount times by the multiplier to the power of 1 because that n is the number of years and we're only working it out for the first year. Therefore, n is going to be 1. And anything to the power of 1 is just itself. Now, for the second year, let's work out the second and third year, sorry. Let's work out the multiplier. So the multiplier is going to be, it's still depreciate, so it's going to be 100 take away 14 divided by 100, which is just not 86 divided by 100, which is just 0.8. 0.86, sorry. There's my multiplier. So my multiplier is 0.86. Now put it into the formula. The interest is going to be, compound interest is going to be the starting amount. However, after the first year, this is what the value went. So we're going to use, with compound interest, you always use the value from the previous year. So we're going to use the value from the previous year, so 12,600 this time, times by 0.86, and to the power of 2 because it is the second year and third year, so it's 2 years. There's going to be the power of 2, and that gives me 9,318 pounds 96. That's the value after the 3 years. So that's how much is depreciated after the 3 years. So any questions, or does that make sense? So sometimes they'll just give you like 3 years in total. So you just do n is 3. However, in this case, they made it a bit difficult. They've given you the first year where the percentage is different to the second and third year. So you just have to be wary of your number of years. So make sure you count them right. Are we what? Sorry. Doing this on paper 1. Yeah, so these sort of questions can come up in all papers. I understand some of you are doing OCR and OCR non-calculator, and some of you are doing Edexcel. So your paper 1 is non-calculator. So these sort of questions cover all ranges. So I am doing some non-calculator questions, some calculator questions. But again, they can put anything, mix anything up in paper 1, which is non-calculator as well. So moving on. This is a very common question that comes up every single year. So question 4 says, find the highest common factor, so HCF of 84, 120. I always recommend the students to always use the Venn diagram method. Don't ever try to work out the factors of really large numbers because it'll only be like a 2-3 marker. So you don't want to spend too many times thinking what's the factors or what's the multiples or something. So always use the Venn diagram method. So I'll explain how it's done. So the first few steps are always the same. For if you're working out LCM or HCF. So LCM or HCF. So the steps are always the same. First step is work out the prime factors for both of them. So I'm going to work out the prime factors for 84. 84 is 2 and 42. Every time you get down to a prime number, circle it so you're aware which one is your prime number. 42, the factors of 42 are 2 and 21. Again, 2 is my prime number. 21 isn't, so 21 breaks down into 7 and 3, and both of these are my prime numbers. Do the same for 120. 120 is 12 and 10. None of these are prime numbers. 12 breaks down to 6 and 2. 2 is 3. 6 breaks down to 3 times 2, and both of them are. Same for 10. 10 breaks down to 5 and 2. Now I've broken all of these numbers down into prime numbers. And next thing is put them in your Venn diagram. So Venn diagram always looks like this. So just draw two circles. First circle is for 84, second circle is for 120. So any numbers that occur in both of them, I mean, any prime numbers that occur in both of them, I want to put them in the middle. So I can see I've got a 2 and a 2 in both of them, so I'm going to put 2 in the middle. I've got another 2 and another 2. I'm going to put that in the middle. And I don't have anything else that's left that's common in both of them. So I'm left with 7. Sorry, I have a 3. A 3 is common in both of them. So I'm left with 7 with the 84. And the other numbers I'm left with are 2 and 5. So you put them in your Venn diagram. Anything that's common in both of them, put them in the middle. Anything that's left, put them in their own sets. So this is the same. So this part is the same for working out LCM or HCF. The last step is the only thing that's different. So when you're working out the HCF, so I'm just going to write this down. You just multiply everything that's in the middle. So what that means is I'm going to multiply everything here. So that's going to be 2 times 2 times 3. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. Therefore, my HCF is 12. Else, with LCM, the lowest common multiple, you have to multiply everything in here. So everything in here and everything in here. So everything that you multiply everything in the Venn diagrams. So that's going to be, I don't know, just write. So you multiply everything, that's going to be 7 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 2 times 5. And then if you work that out, your, if I just work that out in a second, 7 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 2 times 5. Therefore, the LCM is 840. There are your two differences. So always use this method to work out the LCM and the HCF. So the first two steps are always the same. Doing the prime factor tree and the Venn diagram, the last step, actually multiplying is the only difference. HCF is just the middle section, and LCM is multiplying everything. This is a very common question that comes up almost every year, and kids make the mistake of spending too much time actually writing all the factors out, writing all the multiples out, which takes a lot of time. So it's easy just to memorize this method. So next question. Okay, so work out the value of x. So first of all, I need to determine it's a right angle triangle. And with foundation kids, they only need to know about trigonometry. So essentially, SOHCAHTOA, sorry. You only need to know about SOHCAHTOA and Pythagoras. That's what foundation kids need to know. How do you do all of the LCM timesing for paper 1? Obviously the prime numbers they won't be too big. So if you do 7 times 2, just try and working them out using the long multiplication or the grid method. But I imagine if they do give you this sort of question on the paper 1, which is non-calculated, they won't give you such big numbers, but they'll give you more manageable numbers. So yeah, that's an advice I can give you. Obviously, something like this, I can imagine them giving you on a calculator paper because I know they're really big numbers, but for non-calculator papers, they'll give you like small and more manageable numbers. So as I was saying, so with trigonometry, with right angle triangles, SOHCAHTOA and Pythagoras, you can only use when the triangle's right angle. So always identify, is it triangle right angle? Okay. Am I finding, does the triangle involves angles? If it involves angles, you're using SOHCAHTOA. Pythagoras is only for lengths, for working out length, or you could say sides. So Pythagoras does not involve angles. So I know this is involving angles, so I'm going to be using SOHCAHTOA. And another thing I recommend to the kids is draw the trigonometry triangles out. So I've got them on the sheets as well. Don't know if you can see the formulas sheets, the triangles, just so because you're going to be rearranging. So instead of getting confused, you can see it clearly in the triangle how you need to rearrange. First step is always label the side of the triangle. So I know the longest side, this is always hypotenuse. That's going to be the opposite, and that's going to be adjacent. I am finding the hypotenuse and I've got the opposite. Therefore, I need to find the trig value that contains O and H. O and H is sine. So I'm just going to draw the triangle out on the side. Sine of x equals opposite divided by hypotenuse. So I can use this triangle to rearrange whatever side I'm working out. So I'm working out hypotenuse. So I need to work out the value of x, so the hypotenuse. Therefore, the hypotenuse side is opposite side divided by sine of x. And always remember, x is your angle. So your angle always goes next to your trig value, sine, cos, and tan. So now I can see, I'm just going to put the values in. So hypotenuse is x. X equals opposite length is 20 divided by sine of the angle 35. And I just need to put that in my calculator. That comes up as 34.9 centimeters to 1 dp, 1 decimal place. So this is obviously a calculator question, but in the non-calculator one, they will give you the trig values, but you need to know the trig value table. So there is a way which we've got it on the actually we don't have it on the formula sheet, but there is a way to memorize the exact trig value. They can still give you trigonometry on non-calculator papers. So the way to memorize it is draw a big square root and start out with sine and cos, and you have 0 degrees, 30 degrees, 45, sorry, 60, and 90. And inside, sine always goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then write it backwards again. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and it's all under 2. So you've got the square root on top and then the 2 underneath. So whatever value you're trying to find, you just plug it out like this. So if I'm trying to find, for example, sine 45. So sine 45 is going to equal square root, because the numerator is always under a square root of 2 divided by 2, and then you just leave it like that. You don't need to solve it. So sine 45 is square root of 2 over 2. If I want to find cos 0, so cos 0 is square root again of 4 divided by 2. I know square root of 4 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is just 1. Therefore, cos of 0 is 1. So you can plug out all your values of this. So always memorize this table or write it down quickly if you do get a trigonometry question in your non-calculator paper. So that's trig. And another thing to remember is if you're trying to work out the angles, you always have to do. So for example, if I've got a question where it says sine, it says something like cos of x equals 10 over 2. Just remember, you want to find what x is, so you have to use the inverse function. You have to take the cos on that side by using inverse function. So it's going to become cos to the power of -1 times by 10 divided by 2. And how you do that is if you press shift and your trig values on your calculator, it will give you your inverse trig function. So just always remember that. To find the angle, you have to use the inverse trig functions. So that's a bit of background of trigonometry. Okay, next question. Venn diagrams. Venn diagrams most likely to come up as well in your non-calculator paper as well, and your calculator. Yeah, inverse trig is always on non-calculator paper. So anyone who's doing non-calculator tomorrow, if they do give you a trig value, if they do give you like a trigonometry question, you will need to know that table to work out your trig value. So they'll give you something, they'll give you these sort of trig values. So they'll give you find sine of 60. The sine of 60 is √3 over 2. So it'll give you more manageable questions. So this question here, so a gym runs 2 fitness classes, spinning and circuits. On Saturday, 100 people visited the gym. 18 people attended the spinning class. 10 people attended both classes. And 56 people did not attend either class. Represent this information on a Venn diagram. So people always get confused what this means. This just means the entire set. So everything inside this, everything inside of this is your entire set. So that's what it is. So your Venn diagram are going to be drawn inside the entire set. So that's going to contain all the numbers. That's going to contain 100 people. It's going to be inside. Everything should add up to 100. So it should add up to 100 because that's the entire set. So we've got 2 fitness classes. We've got spinning and we've got a circuit. So I'm going to draw 2 circles first for my 2 sets. That's going to be spinning. So S for spinning, and that's going to be C for circuits. So the question says 18 people attended the spinning class. So first of all, we always fill in the one that says 10 people attended both classes. Always fill in the one that says both first. So I know 10 is going to go in the middle because 10 people attended the spinning class and 10 people also attended the circuit class. So we've done that one. That one's done. So it says 56 people did not attend either class. So if they did attend either class, 56 is going to go on the outside. But it is still included in the set. It's still in the table, but it's not in the actual sets. So I've got that. Now this one is a trickier one. It says 18 people attended the spinning class. So spinning class here, as you can see, 18 people attended that. I'll make that a bit darker. But that 18 also has to include the 10 in the middle. So you have to be wary. So that's going to be 18 because it's 18 people minus the 10 is 8. So I'm going to put 8 here because if you add add all of this up, 10 plus 8 is 18. So 18 people attended spinning, but 10 of them, 18 people also attended circuit. So that's one thing to remember. Always minus whatever's in the middle for Venn diagram. People get confused with that. So now we need to know how many people attended circuit. So I know there's 100 people in total. So 100, take away 56, take away 18. And that gives you, if I just work it out, 100, take away 56, take away 18. That gives me 26 people attended circuit. But that 26 needs to also include the middle as well. So I'm going to do 26, take away 10, which is 16. So I'm going to put 16 here because 16 plus the 10 in the middle is 26. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so that's your Venn diagram filled in. So these are a few questions about the actual Venn diagram. So a person who attended the gym is selected at random. Find the probability that this person attended only circuit. So which people attended only the circuit? Attended only circuit is going to be 26. So 26 divided by the total is 100. And you can simplify that. So I can divide both sides, top and bottom, by 2. That becomes 13 over 50. So simplify where you can, but you still get the answer for saying 26 over 100. Part C says attended exactly one class. So how many people attended exactly one class? So we have to eliminate the middle because in the middle they attended both classes. So we're just going to add this number 8 plus 16 because they're the only people who attended only spinning and only a circuit. So it's going to be 8 plus 16 is 8 plus 16 is just work that out. 24. 24 divided by 100. Okay. Now moving on. How many people attended spinning given that they attended circuit? So attended spinning given that they attended circuit, that's only going to be the middle because in the middle they attended spinning given that they attended circuit. So it's only going to be the middle. So that's going to be 10 divided by sorry, attended spinning given that they attended circuit. Circuit was 26 altogether, and the people that attended spinning and circuit was 10, so it's going to be 10 divided by all of the people who attended circuit, and that was 26. So 10 divided by 26. There you go. All right, next question here. That's a bit about Venn diagrams. I think one thing to remember about Venn diagrams is you have to always minus whatever's in the middle of the Venn diagram from each of the sets. So let's move on. So simultaneous equations. Simultaneous equations always come up with a very common question to come up. So it'll come up in either non-calculator or calculator. It'll come up in either one of them. So the question says solve the simultaneous equation. The method is always the same. So first of all, I'm just going to label them. So I'm going to label that 1 and that 2. I'm going to label them just so I'm adding and minusing. I keep the same format. So I'm just going to write them out here. 1 is 6x plus 5y equals 4.5. Number 2 is 3x minus 2y equals 9. I'm starting down now. So first of all, with simultaneous equations, you can only ever find what x and y is by eliminating one of either the x's or the y's. You've got x and y in here, so you can't really solve them because you've got two different variables. So the whole point is you have to make either the x's the same or you make the y's the same, and that way you can eliminate them. In this case, I'm going to make the x's the same. So I'm just going to times the bottom equation by 2 because you'll understand why. So I'm going to write the first one out again. 6x plus 5y equals 4.5. If I time the bottom one all by 2, 3x times 2 becomes 6x. So you can see I made the x's the same. Minus 2y times 2 becomes minus 4y. And 9 times 2 becomes 18. So now I've made the x's the same. So that's why I multiplied the bottom one. So now I need to eliminate the x's. So I need to minus them. This is the part where it gets tricky. Whichever either the x's or the y's you made the same, you have to eliminate them. So you have to make them equal 0. So either you're going to add them or you're going to minus them. I know 6x take away 6x is 0, so I'm going to minus both equations. So be wary because you've got a plus and a minus there as well. So don't get confused with that. So 6x take away 6x is 0. 5y minus 4y is 5y plus 4y, which is 9y. And then 4.5 minus 18. So if I just do that on the calculator, 4.5 take away 18 is minus 13.5. So I've just minus both of them. Now I need to solve it to get y. I'm just going to divide by 9 on that side. Y equals minus 13.5 divided by 9, which equal, if I simplify it, I'm going to get rid of the 0.5 because I want a whole number. So I'm going to time them both by 2. So times them both by 2, that becomes minus 27 divided by 18. And then I'm just going to divide them both by 3. Not by 3, by 9, sorry. Divide the top and the bottom by 9. Minus 27 divided by 9 is minus 3. 18 divided by 9 is 2. So I get a y is minus 3 over 2. So this question involved decimals, so just be wary of that. Now what you have to do is, now you found y, you have to plug your y value into one of the original equations. I can either put it in x, I can either put it in the first one, I can put it in the second one. In this case, I am going to put it in the second one. So the last step is going to be putting that y into the second equation. So 3x minus 2 times minus 3 over 2 equals 9. So I'm just going to solve that. So 3x, so I know that's over 1. So minus 2 times minus 3 is plus 6. And 2 times 1 is 2 equals 9. 3x plus 6 divided by 2 is 6 divided by 2 is 3. So 3x plus 3 equals 9. If I just bring that up here, I'm going to minus 3 on this side because I want to get the x on its own. 3x equals 9 take away 3 is 6. And I'm going to divide by 3. x equals 6 divided by 3, which is 2. So x is 2, y is minus 3 over 2. Do you have to simplify? I simplified because if it's on a calculator paper, I wouldn't simplify, but you also need to know how to do these questions for a non-calculator paper. So this is how you would solve it for a non-calculator paper. I'd times it the top and the bottom by 2 to get rid of the decimal, then I'd simplify it. But you don't have to on the non-calculator. Just put it in straight in your calculator and it'd work it out for you. It just depends what paper it's on. So I've got my 2 values. Just remember for simultaneous equations, the method is always the same. So question 8. So this is speed, distance, and time one. So this question says Rachel drives 300 miles from London to Newcastle. So I'm just going to highlight along the way. She drives 300 miles from London to Newcastle. She drives the first 165 miles at an average speed of 60 miles per hour. From this point, it takes Rachel 3 hours and 15 minutes to complete her journey. What was Rachel's average speed for the whole journey? So we've got the speed and the distance for the first 165 miles. So even if like you're a bit confused what the question is saying, always use what's given to you. So I know for the first 165 miles, which is the distance, I've got the speed, so I can work out the time for that. So if I just draw the triangle out, distance equals speed times time. So in this case, I've got the distance, I've got the speed, I need to work out time. So therefore, time for the 165 miles, the first 165 miles. So for this one here, the time is going to be the distance, which is 165, divided by the time. Right, the time, not the time, sorry, the speed. Speed was 60 miles per hour. So 165 divided by 60 is 2.75 hours. 2.75 hours. Now at this point, it says from this point it takes Rachel 3 hours and 15 minutes to complete her journey. So we need to add it to that time because we worked out the time for the first 165 miles. After the 165 miles, that's how long it takes us. So if you want to combine the time, we need to add them together. So we need to convert this into hours and minutes. So 2.75. We've got 2 hours. We need to convert the 0.75 into 0.75 of an hour into minutes. To convert hour into minutes, you turn by 60. So I'm going to turn by 60. 0.75 times 60 is 45 minutes. I think that's something that students need to be wary of. When you convert it into hours, that decimal point after the solid hours, that's in hours. So if you want to convert that into minutes, you have to times it by 60 again. So that is 2.75 is 2 hours, 45 minutes. The 2 hours, 45 minutes. So now we need to add it to this hours. So 2 hours, 45 plus 3 hours, 15. So 2 hours plus 3 hours is 5 hours, 15 minutes add 45 minutes is an hour. So 5 plus an hour is 6 hours in total. So we've got the total hours and we've got the total distance. So now to work out the total speed is distance divided by time. So total speed is going to be the total distance driven, which was 300 miles, divided by the total time, which is 6. 300 divided by 6 is just 50 miles per hour, mph. So we've got it in hours and the distance was in miles. So that's left as 50 miles per hour. So this was doing speed, distance, and times twice. It's just about understanding the question and reading the question and using what's given in the question. And also be wary of converting time into minutes. So just remember when you do convert hours, just remember that decimal part of the hour, you have to convert that into minutes by timesing it by 60. So you always divide by 60 to get into hours, and then that decimal part times it by 60 to get it back into minutes. So next question here, last two questions. So this is a ratio one. Ratio is definitely going to come up. They'll give it in a worded question, and it comes up. It's been coming up multiple times in every paper. So question says, Anne, Barry, and Colin share a prize in the ratio 3 to 4 to 5. Colin gives a third of his share to charity. What fraction of the whole prize does Colin give to charity? So we know 3 to 4 to 5. That's Anne. Anne gets 3 parts, Barry gets 4 parts, and Colin gets 5 parts. So we need to know how many parts are there altogether. Together there's 5 plus 4. 3 plus 4 plus 5 is 9, 10, 11. 11 parts in total. Sorry, 12. 9, 10, 11, 12 parts in total. So if Colin gets 5 parts out of the 12 and he gives a third away, so he gives a third away, so we want to work out how much he gives away. 5 times a third, 5 times 1 is 5, 12 times 3 is 36. So he gives 5 out of 36 away to charity. So this is 3 marks because it's testing you on your understanding of adding parts. So we know they share it in that ratio. So altogether they've got 12 parts, and Colin is only 5 divided by 12. So it's also testing you on converting ratios into fractions. So how you write ratios into fraction is always the ratio that's given to you divided by the total amount of ratios. And if he gives a third away, just times it by a third to see how much he gives away. Now part B, Delia, Edwin, and Freya share some money in the ratio 5 to 7 to 8. Freya's share is £1,600. How much money did they share? So 5 to 7 to 8, we've got Delia, Edwin, and Freya. So Freya's share, so them 8 parts is 1,600. So all we need to do is first see how much one part is. So we're going to do 1,600 divided by 8. 1,600 divided by 8 is, if I just do my calculator, 1,600 divided by 8 is 200. So each part is 200. So we're going to do 7 times by the 200. That gives me 1,400. And then the 5 times by the 200. That gives me 1,000. So if you add them all up together, 1,000 plus 1,400 plus 1,600 is 1, 2, 3, 4,000. So altogether they got 4,000. That's how much they shared altogether. So it's all about understanding. Freya's share was 1,600. So Freya is 8 parts. So you're going to divide it to get 1 part and then times it for the other one. So it's just sharing ratio. So moving on, last question. So this is averages from frequency tables. This always comes up in the non-calculator papers as well. So it's just about working out mean and the averages from the frequency table. So Luke is an office receptionist. Each day for 60 days, he records the number of people visiting the office. So the total amount of frequency should be 60. Calculate an estimate for the mean number of people visiting the office. So when you have group frequency, first of all, there's two extra parts which they've given you. First, you need to work out the midpoint because it's not a whole number. Then you're going to do frequency times by the midpoint. So first work out the midpoint of all of these. How you work out the midpoint, you do 5 plus 0 divided by 2. So 5 plus 0 divided by 2 is 2.5. 5 plus 10 divided by 2. So 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. So do the rest. 20 plus 10 is 30. 30 divided by 2 is 15. 20 plus 40 is 60. 60 divided by 2 is 30. So I found the midpoint for all of them. And now all you need to do is times them. So 20 times 2.5 is 50. 40 times 7.5 is 105. 11 times 15 is 165. And then 15 times 30 is 450. This question on the non-calculator. It could come up in the calculator and the non-calculator, so you can't really guess what's going to come up. You need to really know everything. You can't really say, oh, is this going to come up in the non-calculator? This is going to come up in the calculator, because it could come up on every single thing, any type of paper, on the calculator and non-calculator. They tend to surprise you with them, so you won't really, it'll be like unexpected as well. So how to calculate the mean? The mean is therefore the frequency times the midpoint, sum of that divided by the frequency. So the sum of this, the last column, divided by the frequency. What is frequency times m? Frequency times m is frequency times by the midpoint, sorry. So I'm doing the frequency, which is this column here, times by the midpoint. So the sum of them is, I'll just add it all. What does it give you though? That's how you calculate the mean. You have to do the midpoint, because can you see here we've got grouped frequency. We don't have actual whole numbers. If you did have whole numbers, you would just do frequency times by the whole number. But because we have to work out the midpoint, and that's what you need to do to work out the mean. You need to do the frequency times midpoint column divided by the frequency column. So if you add them all up, 50 plus 105 plus 165 plus 450 is 770. So 770 divided by 60 is 327.5. That's the mean. The mean is 770 divided by 60. Oops. Divided by 60. Sorry, it's not that. I just worked it out wrong. 770 divided by 60 is 12.83 to 2 decimal places. That's the mean. So there are other averages that you need to know from this table. So for example, they might ask you the mode. Mode just means the most common interval. So the most common, you always read the frequency. So the most common I can see is 20, and that occurs in this interval. So the mode is going to be 0 to n to 5. So the mode isn't the actual frequency, it's the interval, it's the frequency which has that interval. So just remember that the mode is the most common. The range will just be the biggest frequency take away the smallest frequency. So 20 take away 11, which is just 9. The range is 9. And the last one is the median. The median is something you have to work out as well. So the median is always frequency plus 1 divided by 2. So 60 plus 1 divided by 2, which is 61 divided by 2, which is 30.5th place. So that's not actually the median. You have to do a running total at the end to work out where 30.5 lies. So I'm just going to do a running total of the frequency. That's 20. 20 plus 14 is 34. Therefore, because it's 34, the median is therefore this class here. 5 to n to 10. Median is the middle. What is the median? What's the mean? So the mean is this one here. Mean just means sum of everything divided by the frequency. That's how you calculate the mean. So you have to do, that's why you have to do this frequency times midpoint column. You have to do 2 extra columns and divide it by the frequency. And that's how you, I don't understand the mode one. Okay, the mode just means most common. So you just read out the most common frequency. The most common frequency is 20 because 20 is the highest. But the mode isn't actually 20. The mode is always the column on the left. You always read that number off. So either it's going to be a whole number, it's going to be interval. In this case, it's the interval. So the mode lies in the 0 to 5 interval. So just make sure you never write the frequency for the mode. It's always the class on the left, on this one here, this class which contains the mode. And also the median. So the last question is, Luke says the range is 40. We worked out the range. Explain why he may be wrong. No, because the range is the biggest value, take away the smallest value, which is, so when you're giving out, when you're writing actually worded question, don't just write out a statement, write out the actual working out as well. Which is 20, it was 20 take away 11, which equals 9. That was the mode. So any other question before I end this call because the higher class is starting? Um, I don't understand the mode. So hopefully I did explain the mode. Anyone's got any question? I'll be sending these working out, and this meeting's also recorded as well. So again, yeah, good luck tomorrow.